this is Jane from SafeNet AT. In this video, I'll be integrating HPE's new Primera Storage Platform and SafeNet AT's KeySecure for Government KMIP compliant Key Manager. There are two different ways you can approach this integration from the HPE side. You can download the 3PAR CLI utility and issue all the command line commands from there, up to and including the enabling of encryption. Or you can do all the command line commands from Putty or SSH and then go to the SSMC GUI and enable encryption there. I'm going to take the latter approach for this integration, but just be aware you can use the CLI utility for the entire integration. Okay, let's go to KeySecure first. I've done a lot of pre-configuration to save time, and I'm just going to quickly review that configuration. On the Security tab, Local CAs, I've created a local CA that is self-signed and will act as the root of trust for the integration. On the Trusted CA List tab, I added the integration CA to the default Trusted CA list. This list will be assigned to the key server so it knows what certificate authorities are to be trusted. I also created a certificate request for a TLS server cert, and you can see it's called KMIP Server Cert 1. I had this certificate request signed by the local CA and then assigned it to the key server. So on the Device tab, you can see the KMIP key server. It's listening on port 5696. It has that KMIP Server Cert bound to it. On the Properties tab, it is set for the most secure implementation, which is doing client certificate authentication and username. It will be extracting a username from the certificate. In this case, we're going to be using the common name field of the certificate, and it will verify that there is a local user on KeySecure by that name. So it will be authenticating the user based on the common name field, and then any keys generated by that user, it will make that user the owner of the key. So it's not only a way of authenticating, but it is a way of assigning key ownership, which is important from a security standpoint. And the last thing we had to configure here was what Trusted CA List profile the key server should have, and I am using the default profile. The last thing that needed to be configured on KeySecure was a local user for Primera. So on the Security tab, Local User, you can see I created a local user called Primera with a password, and do make note of the password, you will need it. And with that, KeySecure is configured, and I'm ready now to move to Primera to do the configuration through Putty. Here you can see I'm using Putty, and I'm logged into the CLI as administrator, and I'm ready to start the configuration process for Primera. The first thing I'm going to be doing is importing the CA certificate, and this will be done twice. Once as the CA that signed the server certificate, which is this command here, and by using the stdin parameter, I'm going to be pasting in the certificate. Now I'm going to come back here on KeySecure and go to the local CAs page, and with the CA selected, that is the root, I'm going to click Properties and copy the CA certificate from dash to dash. I come back to Putty and paste, and then hit Enter twice. And yes. So now that's loaded once, and now I'm going to repeat that command, changing this to client. And I'm just going to paste the exact same certificate. Obviously, if you have different certificates for the client and the server, as far as who signed them, you'll want to use a different certificate. Click Enter twice and click Yes. The next step is to create the certificate for the client, and this involves generating a certificate signing request, having it signed by the local CA, and then importing the certificate. So to save time, I'm going to copy in this command. You can see it's create cert ekm-client-csr, and then the various attributes of the subject of the certificate. And what's important here is that the common name match the local user on KeySecure. So I'm going to hit enter. And here you can see the certificate request. Copy it. And come back to KeySecure, and if you're still on the CA's page, you can just click this Show Sign Request button. Mark it as a client certificate. Set the duration per your security policy. And paste in the request. And click Sign Request. Now come back here and sign the certificate. This is the signed client certificate. Come back to Putty, and we're going to issue the command import cert ekm-client stdin. Hit enter. Paste the certificate. And hit enter twice. Type yes. And at this point, all the certificates have been imported, and you can use the show cert command. And you should see the Primera cert. This is the client certificate, and then the integration CA certificate twice, once for the client, once for the server, and this is an unrelated certificate for this integration. The next step is to configure the key managers. To do that, use the command control encryption, set ekm-set server, enter a comma delimited list of the KeySecure addresses. If you have more than one, we'll just have one for this integration. Then the port, which is the key server port 5696, and then the common name or the user for Primera, which was Primera. And this is different from with Primera versus 3PAR. You would not have to enter this parameter for 3PAR, but it is required for Primera. You are telling it what versions of the KMIP protocol are supported by the key manager. So for KeySecure, use 1.0, comma 1.3. Okay, hit enter. Now it's asking you for the password, and this is the password for the local user Primera. And now, if you do the command check ekm, the command is actually control encryption check ekm. It'll tell you the EKM settings are correct. And what we should see up on KeySecure, if we go to the Device tab, Log Viewer, Activity Log, is we should see we got two messages from Primera. There are query messages, and that indicates that communication was successful. So we know that the TLS connection was good and that the user Primera authenticated to KeySecure. So at this point, the next step is to actually enable encryption. As I mentioned previously, we cannot do that through Putty, but we can use the SSMC GUI to do that. So I'm going to switch over here and click on this status. Come over here to Actions and click Enable Encryption. With it selected at External, you'll want to enter a password for the backup file. You confirm it, and then click Enable. And read the warning, and yes, enable. So here you can see at this point encryption is enabled. And if we go to KeySecure, we can refresh the activity log, and I'll also change this to display all of the log messages, and scroll down and you can see there was indeed a lot of activity that happened from Primera, and in particular there was a keygen KMIP command that came up instructing KeySecure to generate a key for it, and then the key was exported. So if I come to the keys page, this key you can see is owned by Primera, and that was the key that Primera requested to be generated. So at this point, KeySecure and Primera are fully integrated, and Primera is now set to use KeySecure for secure storage of its keys. I hope this integration video has helped. If you have any questions, please contact customer support at SafeNet AT or HPE. And thanks for watching.